Today we have Nap's Strat that we've been calling Brownie now. Check out his videos, beep, where he's replaced the pickups, the pick guard, and sanded off the headstock logo and put his own logo on there. What? What? You seeing what I'm seeing? Are you seeing what I'm seeing? Napoleon. Napoleon. A simple mistake anybody can make. In fact, I think I did it once too. Staggered tuners. The short one goes up here. The taller one goes down here. Let's fix this. Hey, welcome to Schopfield Music on a gear review / unboxing. I was tasked by Napoleon to set up what we are calling Brownie. But Napoleon would like me to set this up for him. We need to check to make sure that he put the pickups in the right order, meaning the neck pickup, the middle pickup, and the bridge pickup. We're going to set it up with a floating bridge. He's currently got it decked right now. Then I'll get the proper relief put into the neck, get it set up to where it is player friendly. It already looks sweet, doesn't it? I love those black pickups with the pearloid pickguard. And this body is just gorgeous. It really is pretty. And the custom fender logo.
You hear that?
His dog fender. Pretty cool, huh? Let's get started. Here's a cheap way, if you don't have the proper hookups, for testing your pickups to see how hot they are. You just put an unused jack. Of course, this is the pancake one. It doesn't matter what you got, as long as you can access the positive and the negative inside there. Okay. And you turn it to your ohm reading. We'll put it in the neck position. And then on my particular jack, I'm going to put the positive side on the center, the negative side on the outside for the ground, and hold it there. And on the neck right now, I'm reading 5.17. Now if I go to the middle pickup, 5.16. So theoretically, those are probably going to be the same. Now for the bridge, I've got 9.07. And you want your bridge normally hotter in a Stratocaster or even a Telecaster setup. At least that's what a lot of people will do. So from what I'm reading here, I think these are good. I think he's got these set up great. 5.16, 5.16, and 9.07. So that's quite a bit hotter in the bridge, meaning you'll be playing, but we can set the height on these pickups so that they can sound the best. Okay, so you can tell how when I go to the bridge position, it gets a lot louder. Well, that is due to the fact that it is a hotter pickup. But it is also due to the fact that, if you can see here, the string is being pulled down by the magnet. Okay, if you can see here, it is so close. So it will constantly pull it almost out of tune all the time. Next up, with the strings having their tension on there, what I'd like to check is, I'd like to see the neck. And I like to use this straight edge I bought from Philadelphia Luthier. You can also find these at Stu Mac. It was a little cheaper at Philadelphia Luthier. They have a long scale on one side, and then they have a short scale. So you have your 25.5 and your 24 3/4 for your standard sizes. Here we're going to be using the long guitar scale. And I like to stick this right in the center with no pressure. I don't want anything on the headstock here like this when I'm checking my neck relief, because what you have now is gravity of the guitar forcing it down, and I have an airspace under this part of the guitar. Normally what you want to have, what they say is a good way to check for measurement, is you can use your string as well. You don't really need a straight edge. I just like to use this. You push down where the neck meets the body, and you push down here at the first fret. You should be able to get a business card easily in and out of there, just sliding it. And but by eyeballing the straight edge here, I can tell it's a little bit thicker than a business card, so that tells me I want to relieve some of the pressure that's in there and loosen it up a little bit to bring it down, relax it a little bit. We'll loosen this up, quarter turn. And sometimes you'll have to wait a while. What we'll need to do is bring this, currently the bow is too much. It's like this on the neck. If this, can you see? And I want to make it go like this a little more. So we will get the proper adjustment tool in the neck. There. We'll get the proper adjustment tool here, and what I want to do is slowly do quarter turns, and we will tighten this up to bring it. I already did a corner turn that way. I loosened it because I wanted to make sure that our truss rod was still functional. So I will do my quarter turn and see what happens here. Let's check the tuning. Okay. Now what I see is it's almost a little too straight. Not enough room for a business card. So I'm going to relieve and relax the neck just a little turn. About half. Now let's check tuning. And that looks like about enough to slide a business card in the center. And that looks perfect. Okay, I'm happy with that. I could slide a business card right in the center of that. Again, you don't need a straight edge. Where the neck meets the body, hold the string down. Hold the string down at the first fret, and you should be able to... I don't know if you can hear that. Just enough to slide a business card right underneath that string in the center. What I'd like to do is just kind of do a quick run through. So I want to make sure that everything's tight, and so we'll go through and make sure that our screws are snug in these critical places here that we're going to have to make sure nothing moves. We're going to remove the tremolo cover. Okay, so here we have, I'd like to point out another mistake here. This wire that is coming from the tremolo bracket where the springs are attached to is coming around the spring like this and then going underneath it and into the hole that's pre-drilled from Fender, and then it goes over to meet the electronics. And this is not a good situation here, because when you want to start using the tremolo and you start moving the springs here, there's a good chance that that wire will get caught inside those springs. So what we want to do is actually reroute this wire over here across the bridge plate right here next to the body as tight as we can get it to access that port, that hole down there. So we'll have to remove the springs, which we plan on anyways for the tune-up, but we're going to want to reroute that wire. And the soldering job, which what you want to have is a nice shiny bubble of solder, you know, when you're done, a nice clear smooth looking surface. But I get it, on these bridge plates it's pretty difficult. You really actually have to use a real hot soldering iron to get these to break free and to resolder as well. It would be nice someday if you were to upgrade the tremolo. You can see here that this is a very weak or puny tremolo. It's there's not much weight to it. You don't get probably a lot of the sustain with that. But what we'll do is take these springs off, and this is more what you want to see here with the wire. You want the wire to run across the bridge here, like I said, and stay as tight to the body as possible, away from any chance of getting caught up in the springs. Now what we're going to do is remove our tuners. Luckily enough, with these fender locking tuners, all we have to do is loosen the back up here like this, and this releases a locking mechanism that's inside there. Oh, we lost a string right off the bat here, just loosening up that locking tuner. So loose enough. And since we have the strings off here, I'm also going to clean up the nut here. If you can see that, I'm just using a nylon brush and cleaning up right where the strings slide through there. We're going to give this nut a little nut sauce. Big Ben's nut sauce. This will help and ensure that our strings don't get bound up in our nut when you're using the tremolo bar. Now we can take our tuners off. These are my StewMac wrenches. I've got the 3-piece set. It looks like this is going to be a 10mm, and it wasn't on very tight, so we can take that off relatively easy. We'll pop that out just like that, and here you go. So at this point, I want to measure the shafts of the tuner. So here is the order I'd like to see these in. And we will start with the big tuner and work ourselves all the way up to the smaller tuner up here. So starting with the big one, we'll run this in the back here where the plane has already pre-drilled the holes for us. We'll set that in like that. The idea with the staggered tuners is to hopefully do away with the string trees here. So in theory, if you get enough break angle from the staggered tuners, meaning with the shorter poles of the tuners up here, okay, the string break angle is going to be a little bit more aggressive, coming off of the nut and working its way to the tuner, in hopes that it doesn't pop off of the nut. That was one of the downfalls to the Fender design in how Fender created the headstock. So he had to fix that problem, and he fixed the problem by putting these string trees on here. Alright, now that we've got everyone in place, we're going to snug everything up. Now, I'm going to flip it over here. I want to check to see what my lines look like here, if everything looks nice and straight and snug. I don't have anything that's warped, wobbled, or funny looking. And if all that looks good, we are now ready to install our strings back into the locking tuners. I'm hoping to be able to reuse these strings so that I can set it up, and then at the very end we will put a brand new set of strings on. Let's go. I'm going to snug up this locking tuner here on the bottom. A job for super eyes. I wanted to show you one more thing I found. I was looking at the jack plate here, and I could see a little reveal line right here with the way the screws were set in there. You can see right there, that's how it was looking. You could see that reveal right there. And I was like, wait a minute, Fender couldn't have screwed up that bad. What's going on? So I took this off, and I saw that there was two holes here. So it looks as though somebody had tried to maneuver this. And I discovered, I think what the problem was, is this here. Somebody had the wires coming out of the back of this on the side, so that when you mounted this into the hole, it pushed it away from where it was supposed to go, and so you couldn't line it up with the original hole. So what I did was I loosened this nut up, turned those wires around so that now they're in the back and not so much in the front. And so when I install this, I should be able to use the correct hole when I tighten things down. So let's do that right now. And it looks to be that the hole is stripped out a little bit. So I am going to do a little trick here. Papa Tim taught me. In order to tighten this up, you can take a little bit of wood glue and a toothpick. What you'll want to do is take a little glue, get it on the toothpick here, and then take that toothpick while spinning it, slide it right into that little screw hole. Grab your cutters here and then just cut the top of that toothpick right there. Okay, now what we've done is put some soft wood in that threaded hole. And since we're here, why not do the same thing with the other hole? There's no sense in having that just sitting there like that. So we'll take that toothpick, run it down in the hole, the little glue, come back here and cut that off. And now we'll be able to line it up with the original hole. So that problem averted. Now that looks a lot nicer, don't you think? Alright, now let's loosen up our tremolo bracket here, because we definitely want a floating bridge. Alright, let's tighten these strings up. He did not give me a whammy bar for this, so I'm hoping that one of the ones in my junk drawer here will fit. I think I'm going to float this a little bit more. I'd like a little bit more of it. It's almost where it'll work for me. I think we have a winner here. See? I kind of like that. I'm not gonna lie, I really like it. Okay, now at this point we are ready to start setting up the string action. And this is a digital string gauge. So, you know, they make them Sorry about that. They also make an analog, if you're into it. An analog string gauge as well. That works just fine. But I find this to be a little bit more handy and more efficient for what I do. I bought this at, this is Luthier Mercantile. I think I got it at Philadelphia Luthier. Anyhow, StuMac makes them as well. You can get them there too. I am not sponsored, nor is anybody paying me, so. Alright, we have a 16th on the high E, and a 16th on the low E, and it's looking like every single one is reading a 16th. Oh, we got a 5/64 on the G. We'll fix that. We've got 5/64 on the D and 5/64 on the A. So now we will get our Allen key to fit our saddle screws here. Good. All right, we're a 16th on the low E. Typically, I do like to see a 16th of an inch running 10s on the Strat style guitars. Any lower and it's a little too the strings vibrate a little too much. So let's take this down a little bit here, the high E, and see where this takes us. Every time we want to tune it. Yeah, why?
I want to show you something, but I want recording.
Looks like our calibration is ready. Let's pick string E. Okay. Okay, I'm really liking this. This is going to be good. Let's double check one more. Okay, so after playing this guitar, it was weird because everything was working. In fact, why don't we do another test of the pickups here? Because I want to know if we're still getting a reading in the bridge pickup. The problem seems to exist in the bridge pickup here. 5.15 in the neck. And I'm not sure what's happening in the middle. And the bridge is 11. Huh. Yeah, we've got a problem, all right. There's something going on in there with the electrical. It was working fine when I was doing the setup. And when I started playing, I noticed that the volume right around number 5 here, well, I'm using the screw as reference, right around 5 on the pickup screw, there was this tension on the volume, and you can see how you can roll it easy, and then there's something there. So we've got to take this all apart. Let me loosen up the strings. I'm going to try to remove the pick guard here with the strings just loose. So here we are. Look at this. Actually quite nice that I didn't swimming pool it. Rather, what they did was set it up for in case you wanted humbuckers here. Alright, so this is shielded. Let's see what we got going on here. Almost wondering if what happened with the volume here was maybe a problem with the solder. I don't know. I think for starters we're going to try and run some deox in that volume pot. And this is the stuff you want to use. Deox, what's nice is you can set the levels on the cap. Low, medium, high. Low always tends to work pretty good for me. And we're going to shoot some right inside that pot. I don't know if you guys can see that. And we're going to turn that pot with our readings. Now let's see, what do we have in our ohm meter now? Alright, 5.19, 5.20, and 9.12. Now this is reading more like it should. So I'm wondering if we just had some dirty pots and perhaps that little quick plug here that comes with this pickup configuration and set up from GFS. Quick plug. So these, I wonder if they all have the jacks. They do. So what we're going to do is let's spray every single one of these. This will make sure that we maintain a good connection. These are kind of nice setups for those that don't want to do as much soldering or either not have the tools or know how. You can get these. And a lot of it comes pre-wired. You just have to solder a couple things, probably the ends of your jack here and the ground that goes to your tremolo plate in the back there. Alright, so I don't like how the pickup is being pushed up by the wire on the bottom. The actual wire is too thick for this setup, so what we're going to have to do get this wire out of here. See, these wires here are just too thick, and when this wire is laying on the bottom here, down here in this channel, it's pushing on the pickup, creating the pickup to get shoved up higher. So I did notice I was having some problems when I was trying to set the pickup height. I noticed that the channel in between here is raised up, so I'm almost thinking that if I just remove some of the wood that's there in between that channel, it could possibly be enough to allow that cable to go in there and not push up on the pickup. By removing some of this wood here for that, to allow it to set in there, and keeping this wire not back here but rather in the front, we can get this to sit properly and not be pushing up on our pickup. So I think that's going to work out great. Now, I believe this black stuff that you see all here is a shielding type of paint, and I believe you can buy that. I, however, do not have any on hand, but what I do have is some of this foiled tape, which also works as shielding. Fits right in there, and it'll do what we needed it to do. Now the last test run here, let's see. Alright, cool. I'm not seeing the pick guard or the wires or any of this pushing the pickups up anymore, so I am going to run with that. I think that looks good. Everything seems to be intact. 5.18, 5.18, and 9.08. Well, there you go, Nap. I think it sounds sweet, man. I think it plays good too now. The action, I lowered it to what I normally set my Strats at. I've got a little bit more of a bow in this neck than my other guitars, but the thing is this neck is so skinny, it's hard for me to kind of play it the way I normally play my other ones. And going back and forth, I could totally tell there's a huge difference. The Friedman has a much bigger, thicker neck. Not that this doesn't play good. It plays great. I love it. With all the fixes we did to it. And he wanted me to set him up a floating bridge, the way I like to set mine up. But you didn't send me a whammy bar, dude. Luckily I had one in the cupboard, so I'm gonna give you a shout before I leave and see if you've got one for this guitar. If not, I might be able to part with this one. I think I even have a black tip. I'm not sure. I'll have to find out. So it goes with the hardware. Yeah, dude, sweet guitar, man. She's ready for you to rock. Please like, subscribe, and bell it, yo. Cheers.
That was killer.
That's what I thought too, man.
Yeah.
So if you guys like that and you want to hear some more, right there.
Yeah.
While you're there, please like, subscribe, and bell it. Yo. Cheers.